President Trump, you've been busy. So Greenland has been in the news a lot lately, with President Trump saying,
well, we need Greenland for national security purposes.
And you might wonder, what the heck is he talking about? What value could there possibly be in a country that has roughly the same population as Saratoga Springs, Utah, and whose main export is seafood? I'm not even kidding about that. Crustaceans and non-frozen fish are Greenland's top two exports. Now, Greenland's economy is about $3 billion a year, and of that, about 20% of their economy is actually subsidized by Denmark. Greenland and Denmark have a history. Greenland was founded as a Danish colony in 1721 and became an integral part of the Kingdom of Denmark in 1953. It also gained increased autonomy over time, including home rule in 1979 and self-rule in 2009. And today, Denmark retains control over foreign affairs and defense, but Greenland manages most of its internal matters and has a growing movement that are advocating full independence. Now, I'm going to get to why this matters in a moment and why Greenland is actually really important to the United States. But speaking of independence, I want to talk to you about how you can achieve data independence with Aura. You know those horror movies where the zombies are scratching at the door? That is my life every day online. What you're seeing right now is unaltered video of attempted logins into my Microsoft account from China, Russia, Brazil. All of these people are attempting to be me in an effort to access my data. This is real, and it should terrify you because it's probably happening to you right now. Aura sponsored this video. I mainly use Aura for identity theft protection. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points on the dark web and public court records to alert you about potential identity theft. And even if you think, oh, I'm not important enough to scam, I mean, doesn't matter. Even if you don't have a lot of money, someone can still steal your data and take out a credit card in your name. You might eventually get this resolved, but it is going to be years of constant dealing with police and credit card companies, so it's just better to prevent it from happening in the first place. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable to data breaches and brokers, and I don't want you to either. So you can go to aura.com/Ryan to try 2 weeks for free. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed, and may the odds be ever in your favor. In order to understand why Greenland is so important to the security of the United States, we need to look at a map. Well, all right, I guess this doesn't illustrate much. What can I say? I'm not Johnny Harris, but what most people think when they think of Greenland is this map, but we're looking at the map the wrong way. We need to look at it like this. Okay, so Greenland is here, the US is here, and Russia is right here. So when President Trump says,
you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen.
Any Russian ships or submarines who want to sortie into the Atlantic have to cross here or here. And if you've ever read Tom Clancy, you already know what that's called. This is the GIUK gap, which stands for Greenland, Iceland, United Kingdom. Control Greenland and you control everything coming out of Russia, especially stuff you don't want getting out, like nuclear submarines or surface ships. And if Russia fires nuclear missiles or sorties bombers at the U.S., the closest route to get to the United States is over the North Pole. This is why the U.S. has an early warning radar site on Greenland. It's also why Nike Hercules anti-aircraft missiles were deployed in Greenland. Now, the idea of actually buying Greenland was first floated by President Truman in 1946, and the idea was to buy it for $100 million in gold. I mean, if we could put a couple of bomber bases in Greenland and a few Nike batteries, it would give us a heck of a jump on penetrating the Soviet Union if deterrence failed and war came. A State Department memo even said, Greenland is completely worthless to Denmark, and the control of Greenland is indispensable to the safety of the United States. Now, NATO was formed in 1949. Denmark was a founding member, so with Denmark and NATO, you get Greenland. By 1951, the U.S. got the refueling base it wanted, and by 1961, the U.S. got its early warning radar base. So the U.S. didn't really have to buy the island. It kind of came with treaty agreements with NATO. But there is another reason why the U.S. is interested in Greenland, and it has to do with this. Look, this video is not about climate change. You can believe that climate change is happening, or you cannot believe that climate change is happening. I don't care. But for whatever reason, there is less sea ice in the Arctic than there was 40 years ago. Now, back in 1903, this Norwegian explorer, Roald Amundsen, attempted to find a route called the Northwest Passage. He found it, but for the most part, the Northwest Passage is only open from July to September. But if it was open all year round, now that could present an opportunity. You see, China has this global infrastructure initiative called the Belt and Road, which is designed to enhance the delivery of cheap Chinese goods throughout the world through roads, railways, ports, shipping lanes. An open Northwest Passage could see a shorter shipping route to Europe. Now, China did attempt to build several airports in Greenland back in 2019. This was actually at the behest of Greenland's prime minister, and the U.S. was somewhat concerned. See, the project was going to cost $555 million. And remember, Greenland's economy is only $3 billion. So that loan for the new airport would be roughly 18.5% of Greenland's economy. That's a lot of salted cod. So if Greenland couldn't pay, then China could theoretically repossess the airport, and now you've got a Chinese airbase in Greenland. Now, China has tried gaining access to Greenland's rare earth deposits, although it hasn't had a lot of success for now. So could the U.S. buy Greenland today if it's so important for America's national defense? I mean, technically, I don't see why not. In 2017, Saudi Arabia bought 2 islands from Egypt near the Gulf of Aqaba for about $22 billion. So there is precedent in modern history for a country buying land from other countries. Now, the one big difference is that Greenland has a population of about 56,000 people, and these islands in Saudi Arabia were basically uninhabited. But if somebody offered you like $10 million to leave your home, what would you do? Now, maybe not if your home was worth $11 million, but the fact of the matter remains that while Greenland residents might like being Danish, or they might like independence, they might like $10 million per person more, right? Now, the other idea that was kind of floated was like a U.S. military invasion. Remember that Denmark is a part of NATO. There really isn't much precedent for one NATO nation invading another, so I don't really see that as a possibility. I mean, one of the nice parts about NATO is that it seems to have kept the Greeks and the Turks from going to war, so I certainly call that a win. But yeah, I don't really see the U.S. conducting an operation to invade Greenland. There would just be too many political obstacles, both in the United States and within NATO, to overcome. Greenland is strategically important due to its position, its resources, and the changing geopolitical landscape driven by Arctic accessibility. And Greenland will remain a focal point of interest for both the U.S., China, and other global powers. Buying it outright, that's a long shot. Actually invading the island, I don't really see that happening. You know, for buying, Greenland's residents would need to agree, Denmark would need to agree, and the international community might have its own opinions about a land purchase of that scale in the 21st century. It's not impossible, but I think it's highly improbable that something like that could go through. What is more likely is the U.S. continuing to engage Greenland through economic partnerships, defense agreements, and strategic investments to counter rival powers like China and Russia. Greenland isn't just a frozen island with some seafood exports. It is a critical piece of the Arctic puzzle, one that will become increasingly important as global dynamics shift. So when you hear leaders talk about Greenland, just remember, it's not about the ice, it's about what's under it, but what surrounds it and what it's connected to. The Arctic is heating up, and not just in temperature. Hey, if you want to support the channel, grab my novel, The Wind Machine, from Amazon. It's also available as an audiobook for Marines. It's about a hedge fund manager whose computer software predicts a possible nuclear war with China. I also have some signed copies up on Bunker Branding. They should be available soon. You can also grab my Intel Life hoodie from Bunker Branding as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take us out, Watertown Girl. Wow, this girl from Watertown sure is cool. Hey kid, what's going on? Think tank! You know, a girl from Watertown is kind of like riding a moped. It's lots of fun till your friends see you on one. What's really cool is a t-shirt or hoodie from Bunker Branding. Wow! Intel Life! Control-C, Control-V! That's exactly what we do! And Bunker Branding has all sorts of cool gear. Intel Life, Air Assault, Live, Laugh, Launch for Destroyer, Trident, HIMARS, and Patriot. Think outside the bomb. Drone Sweep Drone, Department of the Boat People, landmines, and even the tow missile. It would behoove you to grab one today. Girls from Watertown aren't cool, so wear your Bunker Branding gear. Now I know. And knowing's half the battle. Hey babe, you wanna dance? Bunker Branding!